Hello students, and welcome to some more Excel adventures. This video is all about the if function. So let's jump right into Excel. So in this sheet, we have prepared some students, and they have, they have a title, but then here they have results at some quiz, and we're going to do some computations using this if function. So first of all, if function has fairly simple syntax. Overall, it allows you to return specific values based on whether or not a condition is true or false. So the syntax is if, bracket, and here you'll have a logical test. And if the result of the test is true, then the function will return whatever is in the second argument, okay, value if true. Otherwise, if this condition is false, then the function will return whatever is entered in the third argument, value if false. That's all very abstract, so let's give a simple example. So here in this column, I've computed the average of this specific student for those 3 quizzes. And here in this column, I want to know if the student is doing well, and I can use a logical criteria such as if the student has an average of 8 or above, then yes, the student is doing well. Okay, so using the if function, so if first argument will be my logical test. So if this average is bigger or equal to 8, then I want to return, in this case, just a sentence that tells me that yes, the student is doing well. So I'm just going to return the word yes. Then in the third argument, value if false, well, if the student is not above 8, well, I'm going to return okay, not yet, for instance. Okay, and then that's it. That's my result. Okay, so this student's Sansa is doing well. She has an average of 9. Okay, let's drag the formula as we've seen before. We'll get the average of all the students. Okay, and then we can drag this formula as well. I can drag it because here I haven't put any $sign. So this cell G2 is going to update if I drag the formula. Okay, and we see that Arya is not yet doing well. Ned is doing well. Cersei, not yet. Theon, yes. John, not yet. Okay, that's fairly simple. But now the main, or one of the main strengths of if is that you can complexify the condition pretty much as much as you want with or statements or and statements. What do we mean by that? Well, let's give a slightly more complicated example. So here I had hidden ahead of time some rows to make them appear. Okay, so you can do that by clicking on hide. Okay, so and I'm going to do this here in this column, prize 1 and prize 2. So for prize 1, let's say that I want to give some prize to some students based on some criteria. Prize 1 will be this. If the average, if the students have an average of at least 9, but also, so and every quiz is above 8, or every quiz is at least 8, then I want to give them a prize. So how would I do this in using the if function? So I've done it already, but let's explain. So again, the first argument, which is pretty long here, is our condition. Okay, but what do I want? Well, I want the average to be 9 or above. Okay, so that's the same thing as we've done. Well, actually, let's simplify this a little bit. The syntax. I have the averages in this different column. So let's just put this. Okay, if the average is above 9, that's fine. But also every quiz must be at least 8. Well, this is exactly like saying, okay, the average needs to be above 9, but also the quiz 1, which is D2, must be above 8. Quiz 2, so that's E2, must be above 8, and then quiz 3, F2, must be above 8. Okay, so first condition and second condition and third condition, etc., etc. Okay, and if that's the case, well, then I can return that. I can return just the word prize. Otherwise, okay, so this is what is returned if the condition is true. Student gets a prize. Otherwise, I just return something empty, and that's the case here. So I don't see anything because this student, you see, yes, they have an average of 9, but not every single quiz is above 8 or 8 and above, so they don't get a prize. Now, if I drag the formula, though, I should see which students do get a prize. And in this case, we see it's only Theon that indeed has every single quiz 8 or above, and also an average of 9. Okay. For example, Ned has every single quiz 8, but not an average of 9 or above, so he doesn't get a prize. Okay, so that's for prize 1, and then again, I can have some fun. I can devise different rules. Okay, so for prize 2, okay, prize 2 would be given to a student that has an average of 9 or every quiz at least 8. So here, be careful. It's either they have average of 9 or every quiz is above 8. Okay, how do we do this? Well, again, we use our if function. We just need to be careful. Again, here I've done it ahead of time, but let's simplify here. Instead of having average as a formula, we'll just plug the average, which is here. And then careful, we use or. So or average is above 9. Okay, either this is true or, but now be careful, it is every quiz that needs to be 8 or above, not only one. So then I do need to use also an AND statement, because I want that first quiz is above 8, and the second quiz is above 8, and third quiz is above 8. Okay, so you're careful. Or, so either this is true, the average is above 9. Okay, or every single one is above 8. But I do need my AND to signal or to give Excel the instruction that it's quiz 1 and 2 and 3 that must be above 8. Okay, and here I need to be careful about the closing all the brackets. So first bracket is for the or, then I have an AND. I need to close the AND statement. I need to close the OR statement. And then if overall this whole thing is true, that either the average is above 9 or every single quiz is above 8, then again, I receive this prize. Maybe I can call this prize 2 just to make sure. Prize 2. Okay, and then I drag the formula. Now you see, Sensa does get the prize because even though not every single quiz is 8 or above, she does have an average of 9. So this second prize is easier to get. Okay, and same thing here. Ned doesn't have an average of 9, but he does have every single quiz above, well, 8 and above, so he gets prize 2. And of course, Theon gets both prizes. Okay, that's pretty good. Now, one other thing I wanted to show is well, is this. So again, here I had hidden one column that now I'm going to make appear with unhide. And so let's use what we've learned about the if function to identify the gender of the student based on their title. So, but here you need to be a little bit careful. You might say, okay, if the title equals a specific thing, in this case, Miss, you might be tempted to say, okay, well, if it's Miss, then I'm going to write the gender to be female. Okay, and otherwise I'm going to write male. But that will not give you a perfect answer, because yes, indeed, you're going to get that Miss is female, then Miss is female, then okay, what's happening here? Ned has Mr. here. So if before is not Miss, return male. That's correct for this specific person, but then we run into a problem. Here we have MRS, right? Now this should be a female as well, right? But we haven't entered this in the formula in any way. So Excel sees that this is not Miss, so then it returns whatever value is given for false, which is male. In this case, that's not what we want. How can we do this? Well, we can solve the problem. Again, here, if you followed, we could have a more complicated condition, okay? So in this case, because I have MRS, I might identify that this, okay, I want it to return female, so I might type here a OR condition, right? Or we have the title Miss, okay? Or we have B5, the title, be equal to MRS, okay? And then in those two instances, so either the title is Miss or MRS, then I return female. In all the other cases, I return male, okay? That would work. However, it works in all those cases, but let's complexify things a little bit. Let's say that there was a title that doesn't really help you identify the gender. Okay, so maybe someone else could be I don't know. Eamon is gonna be he's gonna be a doctor. So doctor doesn't tell me if it's male or female. So in that case, I run into some trouble. Again, the same problem that, okay, it's not miss, it's not MRS. So then the Excel return male, but that's probably not what I want. So what I can do is I have a third option. So I don't want to return female. I don't want to return male. Maybe I want to return unknown, for instance. Okay. How would I do this? You can do this by having a if within a if. So how would we do this? Okay, let's do it. Okay, and maybe let's do it from, well, maybe not from scratch, but from the beginning here. Okay, so if I miss or MRS, then I want to return female. That's fine. But otherwise, if I'm not those two, I don't want to necessarily return male because I have this possibility of being a doctor here. So then the trick is to enter here. I'm in the value of false. So if I'm not miss or MRS, what happens then? I enter another if. And in this other if, I write, okay, if the title is Mr., then return male. Okay, because in this list, only the title Mr. indicates that the person is male. But now I'm in the value of false of the second if. Okay, so which means if I'm not Miss MRS and if I'm not Mr., in that case, return unknown. Okay, and now of course I would forget one parenthesis, but Excel has added it by default. Okay, and so this all works. Now I'm just to show you that it works, I'm going to drag the formula up. Okay, so the formula I had before was going to be updated, and it does work. Okay, and because this is slightly tricky, let me explain again. What's happening? If I go here, okay, Excel is going to check. Okay, if I am miss, that's the case in this case. Well, I'm going to return female, and that's it. Excel is just going to return it. It's not going to go see what's in the rest of the code. If I go to a male here, if this is true, but it's in fact it's false. So Excel is not going to return female. Excel is going to jump here, and then if before is male, sorry, is Mr., then return male. Okay, and lastly, the last one is going to go up to the end of the code. Excel is going to check. Okay, is it a miss or MRS? No. So let's jump here. Is it a MR? No. So let's jump here and return unknown. Okay, now let's do one more example. Okay, and because you can go crazy with this if with inside a if. I wouldn't recommend it necessarily. Okay, but if you want, you can do if within a if within a if within a if. For example, let's say that you want to here find the final grade of a student based on their quiz. So in this case, we already find the average. So let's say that we find their average as out of 100. Okay, so well, okay, Dr. Unknown. Let's say that they have a grade here. I'm just gonna say that they got full marks, so they have 100%. But anyway, I want to find their mark, but either HD, D, credit, pass, or fail. Now, I can do this, and maybe let's just redo it from scratch. So, but then I'm gonna need ifs within ifs within ifs. Why? Well, let's start from the highest possible grade. If the final grade is greater than 85, okay, well, 85 and above, then value of true, then I want to return HD. Okay. Otherwise, well, I don't know exactly which grade it is. Okay, but otherwise, I know I'm not above 85. Okay, so because I know I'm not above 85, the second possibility is that I'm above 75. Okay, in this case, so if this one, so I should type if, so if this one is above 75, then the result should be distinction. Okay, because again, I already know I'm not above 85. So if I'm above 75, I know I'm distinction. And then I keep going. Okay, otherwise, if I'm not above 85, if I'm not above 75, then let's check if I'm above, what's the next bracket, 65. And if that's true, that I'm above 65, but not above 75, then I would be a credit. Okay. Then we keep going. If I'm not above 75, okay, again, so if I'm not above 75, but I am above 50, then I know I should get a pass. And lastly, if I'm not above 50, whoops, if I'm not above 50, if well, actually, if I'm not above, well, that's the end, right? Then if I'm not above 50, then I should just be fail. Okay, and then in the end, I have so many ifs, so I need to close all of them. 1, 2, I should be fine. Okay, and if I haven't messed up, it should work. Okay, this one has HD, this one has a credit, this one has a distinction, this one has a pass, this one has a HD, this one has a fail, unfortunately for John. And then this one is a HD as well. Okay, I think that sums up everything I wanted to say about ifs. Of course, those are just examples, but I think hopefully you get the overall mechanics of it. And so, yeah, I believe I'll stop here. See you next time.